Now, let's talk emotions. Um, I was thinking about, is this okay? Mm. There we go. Okay. I was thinking about emotions and emotional expression and what it, what it does to us to not express them. And I was thinking about it because my wife was having I will say she was having a disagreement with her parents. It's not uncommon, it happens. And this was making her very frustrated, and it was bringing up a lot of things from her childhood or adolescence, we'll say. And maybe you can relate. Maybe you have a relationship with your parents that is a little bit brittle or based on and sort of informed by what happened, 30 years ago or 20 years ago or whatever it might be. And kind of wondering about how much info to divulge here. But basically, she needed to express some emotions, but didn't really feel comfortable expressing what she needed to express. And I think this is really common. And so I'll leave my wife's specific story out of it and just kind of speak more generally that we as a culture, I think, we need to make more room for safe emotional expression as a way to, as a way to stay sane. Like we are going nuts culturally. I think there's a lot of probably should have locked the wheels on my table before I started. There's a lot of a mental illness, I think. Illness is not quite the right word, but problems related to not effectively and appropriately expressing what we're feeling. And it's a topic now that I'm super interested in because I've come so far in my understanding of it. I I was always poker faced. I wanted to be the person that was unaffected and cool no matter what. And well, I don't think like that anymore. And I've had a few things in my life that really shifted that for me. One of them being a wonderful, amazing, intentional grief ceremony that I went to. That was a men's only grief ceremony out in nature. It was a 3-day event. And it was a place and an event that was designed to allow maximum safe expression of emotions like grief and anger, which are oftentimes kind of related. And or at least you might have to get through the anger in order to get to your grief. But we had to go out in nature. Like we had to go get away from society and be in this incredibly intentionally, carefully crafted, environment of a ritual in order to allow all of these men to let out these very raw and vulnerable emotions. But what you got out of it in return was this amazing sense of release and connection and just openness and joy and all sorts of great stuff. And so now I've started to look at things really differently, and combining that with my experience as a new parent and seeing how my young kid, who's now just turned 3, how he handles expressing his emotions, because a little kid like that has no qualms letting you know exactly how they feel. And that's one of the amazing things about them, is that they don't hide how they're feeling. They don't lie about it. They just let it out. And you know exactly, like, oh, he is full of joy and happiness and he's doing great. Or, oh, wow, he is just melting down. He's miserable and he's going to let you know, every time. But the thing I didn't really appreciate is that emotions, and I know this may be really obvious to a lot of people, more likely women than men, but emotions and feelings that are not expressed cause harm. And not just like some kind of little like, oh, just kind of maybe you'll be a little more stressed out or something. Like I think it causes disease. And it certainly causes dis-ease. I mean, to see, so going back to the grief ceremony, I've done it twice now. And what is really amazing to me is seeing the difference in the faces of the people when they first arrive versus when we're all done and about to leave. And it's like a different group of men. And you see it in their faces because we didn't take a photo at the beginning of the event, but we did take a photo at the end of the event. And so I just have to use my memory of the people as they arrived at this event, unsure of what it was going to be like, feeling really down from whatever they need to grieve about. But the photo of us, and I realize now I can share it with you. I've got the photo. Look at this photo. Look at the faces on here. And I see, when I look at that group photo, I see so much just positive energy coming from those men. It does not look like a group of hurt men to me, which is honestly, I think, how it looked when they all showed up. They were hurting, and there was pain on their face, and there was a a holding back of emotion. It was sort of like they had built up walls around their joy, and maybe it was, I'm sure that they built up walls around their grief, but that also created the walls around their joy. That's a better way of thinking about it. That in their come on, words, in their hiding, in the process of withholding feeling grief and anger, they inadvertently had walled off their joy. I had. I love that photo. I just loved looking at the faces, partly because I love all the guys there, that we had such a wonderful experience together, and all of those men were so brave in how they showed up and how they were vulnerable and how supportive they were for everyone else when they were vulnerable. It's a beautiful thing. It's called Tending Male Fire, and it takes place in Ashland, Oregon. I don't know if I'll be able to go again this next time, but it's happening in May. But my wife and I just had another kid, and so I don't know if I'll be able to get out for that one. If I can, I will. But God, it's beautiful. It is so beautiful. But that experience really set me down the path of seeing just how much life I was leaving on the table by not expressing emotions. I didn't even know that I had anger. Before that event, if you'd asked me, do you often experience or express anger? I'd been like, no, I'm just not a very angry guy. No, I don't really even know what I'm like when I'm angry. But now I'm starting to get it, and I'm starting to see how when I am able to tap into anger and safely express it in a controlled environment where it's okay, that I feel so good afterwards. I feel so relieved. I feel happy. I feel open and just, I've got energy and pep, and oh, it's fantastic. And now as I'm saying this, I'm going, boy, I could probably use a session. It's been a while. And it's been a while because it's not super easy or obvious how to do it. Unless you live out in the middle of nowhere and you feel totally safe going outside and, breaking sticks against a tree or something like that and screaming your head off, it's kind of hard. You're like, all right, how do I do that? What does the safe expression of a lot of anger and rage look like? And this is exactly what my wife and I were talking about last night, because she needed to express some anger, but how to do it. She didn't quite feel safe yet doing it, in front of me, so I couldn't really help her in person to get that out. And it's a small house. She didn't want to do it with, the kids in the house, and she needs some space, some privacy, which I totally get. That's when I do it. When I have the house totally to myself, then I do it. So let me just lay out how I think a productive anger session could go for you if you wanted to try it. If you wanted to try on anger for size, like, hey, yeah, what does that feel like? Here's what I'd say. When you have a private, period of time, give yourself, 20 or 30 minutes at least. Depending on if you live in an apartment or a house, you may need to take more or less precautions about how to dampen the sound that you're going to create. But you're gonna want to use your voice. It's hard to really get out what's inside of you unless you're using your voice. Screaming into a pillow is great. Sometimes I wonder if I need to strap something to my mouth so that way I have my hands free, because one of the other things that really helps is to hit, pound your fists on the bed or on a pillow, something like that. But if you can combine, hitting with screaming and saying out loud what you're feeling, oh, that's powerful. And if you do it well, if you give it a good faith effort to go inside first, and really connect to your emotions, connect to the anger. Think about the thing that makes you angry. Could be anything. It doesn't matter. It's you. It's you. You know what hurts you, when you think about it, something that makes you really angry. It could be about how your childhood turned out. It could be about losing a loved one. It could be about your career blowing up and not going the way you thought it would, or whatever. But think about that thing and really think about it in a way that is as close as you can get to it. And then try saying out loud, speak the feeling. And just, as an example, if you had lost your job, you take a moment to get inside and think about how angry it makes you feel that you were laid off. And say how fucking angry you are that those fuckers laid you off, whatever it is. Get into it and start building up this kind of anger engine inside of you. And as you start to really feel that getting hot, then just start unleashing on a pillow or a bed or a couch, something soft and safe, you know, and scream it out, you know, hitting and all that stuff. And if you do it, I don't want to say right, but I'm going to use the word anyway. Not that there's a right or a wrong way, but you'll get the idea. If you do it right, if you really touch the anger inside, speak the anger, and scream and hit something soft, please don't hurt yourself or your wall or something. Leave the pets out of it. Then you're going to have something happen that is really amazing. And you're going to sense that there's a bit of a self-sustaining nature to it, where all of a sudden it's just like coming out of you, sort of like, I don't know, when you start to like vomit or something, like pretty soon it's on its own and it's going to happen. And you kind of get this, you know, kind of thing coming out. And yeah, I'm smiling, not because it's like fun in the moment. It's definitely not. It can feel kind of nasty in the moment, sort of like throwing up. But afterwards, it feels amazing. And if you really get it out, like exhaust yourself doing it, screaming into the pillow, hitting the bed, whatever, holding a bat or a stick or something and using that to hit something really helps. You do that well, and you're going to feel really good. I'm always amazed. I'm shocked. Like the whole next day afterwards, I'm just like all peppy and happy, and I feel good, you know? It feels good to, it's like, what are some good analogies? You're cleaning out, you're kind of blasting out junk that's stuck in a filter, you know, the air filter for your car, and all of a sudden your engine has got oxygen again and it runs. It's like that. And clearing out anger and grief. Oh, that was the other thing. You might find that as you express anger, there might be sadness that follows. Maybe, maybe not. I have found that to be the case for me, that oftentimes if I really do a good anger session and I get it out and I kind of exhaust myself, then what follows after that is sadness or grief. Somebody's knocking on my window, and I think it's my wife and kid. I'm going to finish this. So you might cry. You might cry afterwards, and that's a bonus. That's a feature, not a bug, as they say. It's a twofer. You get to express the anger and you get to express the sadness, and the more you get out, the better you'll feel afterwards. It might take a little bit. Maybe you'll feel better right away, or maybe you'll feel better 24 hours later. But somewhere in there, you're going to feel better. And it might be, I've had experiences where it seemed to address a musculoskeletal issue like back pain. And I'm not the only one that has had something like that happen. I've had it seemingly address digestive issues, where I was kind of knotted up in my stomach and maybe a little gassy and just not feeling so great in my stomach, and then do a anger and grieving session, or just one of the two. It doesn't have to be both, but doing a session, and then I feel my stomach just kind of clear, and it'll gurgle a little bit, and then I just feel good. I feel relieved, and I feel better. That goes back to just, I think unexpressed emotions cause problems with our physiology. So, I know I'm rambling. This has been a not very well organized lecture. But what I want to end on here is that as a parent, I think what I think is valuable here is that a young child can be a really good model for how to express emotions so that the expression of them solves the problem. Because when a child has an emotional outburst, if they are allowed to get it out and not interrupted and not shamed for doing that, then they soon feel better. They get better by expressing those emotions. And so it's good to watch them and be like, okay, good, yeah, you're working on it, you're doing it, you're healing yourself by expressing your emotions. Maybe being really angry and crying and screaming is helping them. You just got to give them the space, give them the time, give them your attention, because that helps too. Have somebody that cares and loves about you to be there to witness how you're feeling. That helps. And so I try and give my son the attention and the respect to let him do the process that he needs to do. And I've come to really love that about how children will heal themselves with their own emotional expression. And I take notes, not just mental notes, but I look at him like, oh yeah, he's really letting it out right now. And in a few minutes, he's going to be all better. Like really, it'll just be like a switch flipped or something. If I let it run its course and I'm there and I'm supportive and loving, boy, he turns it around and he feels great in no time. And I think we as adults could learn a lot from that. So kind of tying it back to my wife having a need to express some emotions, but not really having an outlet for it. That's something that I want to work on now, because I do not want my family to be emotionally repressed and suffering the consequences of that. I want there to be tools available and the space, just the safety and space available to do the emotional work that we all need to do on a regular basis. A kid needs to express emotions on a regular basis. A parent is going to have all sorts of emotional needs on any given day because it's fucking hard and it's stressful, and you're gonna get mad. You're gonna want to cry and scream. And so we need to find a way to do it. Otherwise, we're all stuck and just letting all of this unexpressed feelings, all these unexpressed feelings just build up and build up and build up. And all that leads to is like a snap when you're not in a safe place, and you're gonna snap at your own kid or your wife or your husband or whatever. I don't want to do that. I want to blow off the steam in a safe way, in a productive way, that doesn't hurt anybody, emotionally or physically. So that's what I'm thinking. Kind of want to do that again. That was long and rambling, but maybe I'll post it, maybe I won't. Anyway, if I do, thanks for watching. That's it. That's what I say to my kid when I'm done reading a book. Well, that's it. All right. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Motherfucker. I just realized that I wasn't recording with this microphone. I was only recording with this microphone. Well, look at that. Maybe I do need two mics. Ha! Mother